All right, everybody. So now we're looking at the measuring angles worksheet, and notice I have my big protractor here, and this is the tool that you're going to be using for this lesson. And so here we have the first angle done for us. If you take your protractor and measure how many degrees each angle is, then you'll see here by putting this protractor right on that dot and making sure that bottom line matches up with our protractor. In other words, this line right here on the bottom, it needs to match up with the bottom line of our protractor. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab my protractor and set it right here so my bottom lines match up. And now I'm going to look at where that top line is pointing at. Well, it's right here in between my 10 and my 20. All right, no matter how big I make this protractor or how small I make this protractor, that top line is still pointed between the 10 and the 20. So that angle measure is going to be 15 degrees because it's between the 10 and the 20. It's halfway between, so that would be 15 degrees right in between the two of them. Let's go ahead and take our tool and move it over to the next example here. So again, I need to match up my bottom line with the bottom of my protractor. Make sure that point of intersection of the angle, that little dot, matches up with the middle of my protractor. And so here we notice that the top line is pointing at exactly 30. So I'm going to go here and put in 30 degrees. And I have to remember to put my little degree sign. And then I'm going to go on to the next one. Make sure my bottom line matches up with my protractor. And it looks like it's between 40 and 50. So what number would be right in between 40 and 50, halfway between? Well, that would be 45 degrees. So 45 degrees. And notice some of these lines are going to be greater than 90. So let's go over here to this one at the very bottom, 6. If I line up my bottom line with the bottom of my protractor and put the middle line of my protractor right on the dot, it's going to be at 150 degrees. Notice I am not paying attention to this 30 up on top. I'm instead paying attention to the 150 because now that the angle is greater than 90 degrees, it's going to be 150, right? Because that's greater than 90. So here I'm going to make sure to put 150 degrees because that's greater than 90. 150 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next worksheet. We're only going to do 2 worksheets for today. So let's go ahead and scroll down here. Take my tool back out. My protractor is what we call this one. And here we're going to be measuring the angle measures up above with the numbers below. And so we're comparing angle measures here. So remember we have our greater than, less than signs. I always think about the greater than as like an alligator mouth. So right now the alligator wants to eat the bigger value. So I don't know if you want to like draw some teeth on your angle sign, but right now it's eating angle G because angle G is bigger. Nice and big. Wouldn't you want a big meal if you were eating? So let's go ahead and see what it's saying. It's saying that if we measure angle B and make sure our protractor lines up with the line of angle B, it's about 15 degrees. It's between 10 and 20. And if you're having a tough time seeing that, I can make it a little bit bigger here. I can try to. And then if I move it over to angle G, it's going to be a lot greater than 15 degrees. It's about 45 degrees. So since angle B is 15 degrees about, and angle B is 45 degrees, angle G is going to be bigger. So we're going to have a greater than symbol eating it. All right. Now we have to compare angle J to angle G. So I'm going to find angle J. Well, that actually has a right angle mark, that little square. So that's going to be 90 degrees. And yep, it's exactly 90 degrees when we put it on our protractor. So angle J is 90 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and write that in. And then we have angle G, angle G. So I'm going to go ahead and find angle G. Make sure my bottom line matches my bottom of the protractor. Make sure my middle line of my protractor matches with the dot of the angle, and this is going to be 45 degrees for angle G. So which one is greater? Well, angle J is, right? 90 degrees is greater than 45. So I'm going to put a little greater than mark, like the alligator mouth is eating the J. J is greater than G. All right? And so that's what you're going to do for the rest of the angles there. You're going to take a protractor, measure each of the angles. What would probably be the quickest way to do this would be to measure each of the angles and just put what angle measure they are right next to them. So if this is 15 degrees, then it's always going to be 15 degrees. Then if the next one, angle G, is 45 degrees, just put 45 degrees. So I would just go ahead and measure all of the angles first, put what their degree measure is, and then it'll be a lot quicker to compare rather than having to remeasure the same angle. All right, then we'll do these tomorrow, okay? We're not going to be working on 3, 4, and 5 today. So after you finish comparing angles, before you get to finding an unknown angle, you're going to want to freeze, okay? Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.